Chapter 43. A Turn in the Tide. Rook's fleet, having navigated the treacherous expanse of the nebula, made an unexpected breakthrough. The portal jump to the home system, a maneuver fraught with uncertainty due to the unpredictable nature of time distortions, proved to be more favorable than anticipated. Instead of the lengthy transition they had braced for, the jump took mere seconds, bringing Rook and his fleet closer to Earth much sooner than expected. As the fleet materialized in the solar system, Rook wasted no time. "Engage immediately," he ordered, his voice filled with a relentless desire to confront the Drixarians. His ships, battle-ready and thirsting for action, plunged into the fray, bolstering the Space Lord's defense with fresh vigor. In the midst of the chaos, Nakia contacted Rook, updating him on the critical situation. "Rook, we've hit a major snag. The ship-to-ship portals are blocked, and we can't launch the Mosquito squadrons. We're struggling to get boots on the ground." Before Rook could respond, Cora reached out to him on a private channel. Her voice was calm, but underscored with necessity. "Rook, our situation is dire. Do you have any ideas on how to engage the enemy on the ground? They're swarming the cities, and we're at a disadvantage." Rook was about to suggest a high-risk strategy when Lysander's voice cut through the link. "I think I found the source of the blocked portals on Earth," he reported, his tone fueled with excitement. Cora and Rook's attention shifted immediately to Lysander. "Go ahead, Lysander," Cora urged. "I've detected a signal emanating from a Drixarian command ship in low Earth orbit. It's projecting some kind of field that's jamming the portal network," Lysander explained. "If we take out that ship, it might restore our portal access." Rook's strategic mind quickly processed the information. "That's our target, then. We hit that command ship with everything we've got. It's a long shot, but it might be our only chance to turn this around." Cora agreed. "Do it, Rook. We'll coordinate our efforts from here. This could be the breakthrough we need." Rook relayed the plan to his fleet, the ships adjusting their targets to focus on the Drixarian command ship identified by Lysander. The battle intensified as Space Lord's vessels converged on their new objective, unleashing a barrage of firepower. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Drixarian forces, unaware of the Space Lord's change in strategy, continued their ground assault. The fate of the cities and their inhabitants hung precariously in the balance. Back in space, as the Space Lord's armada engaged the Drixarian command ship, a fierce battle ensued. Every Space Lord aboard the fleet knew the importance of this mission. Taking down the source of the portal jamming could turn the tide of the entire battle. Rook, leading the assault, was a figure of fierce vengeance. His ship, the Mortifera, spearheaded the attack, cutting through the Drixarian defenses with precision and fury. The command ship, heavily guarded and fortified, was a formidable opponent, but Rook and his fleet pressed on relentlessly. As Rook's fleet concentrated its firepower on the Drixarian command ship, Cora's vessels formed a protective barrier around them. Their objective was clear: to shield Rook's fleet from counterattacks, allowing them to focus their efforts on the critical mission. The command ship, stationed in low Earth orbit over Moscow, was a fortress in the sky. Despite the relentless assault from Rook's ships, it seemed impervious to their attacks. The Space Lord's weapons, though advanced and powerful, barely made a dent in the ship's reinforced hull. On the ground, the situation in Moscow was growing increasingly dire. The Drixarian forces had intensified their ground assault, and the city was in turmoil. Amidst the chaos, the President-Minister, recognizing the gravity of the situation, made a desperate attempt to communicate with the attackers in space. The night sky over Moscow was alight with the battle raging above. The citizens, caught between fear and awe, could see the flashes of explosions and the exchange of deadly fire. The sight was both terrifying and mesmerizing, a stark reminder of the high stakes of this conflict. In space, Rook's frustration mounted as the command ship withstood their barrage. "Keep firing," he urged his fleet. "We have to break through. This ship is the key to freeing the portals." Cora, monitoring the battle from her command center, realized the need for a change in tactics. "Rook, direct hits aren't working. We need to target their defenses, their weapon systems. Disable the ship, Don't just try to destroy it. Rook adjusted the fleet's strategy, redirecting their fire towards the command ship's armaments and critical systems. It was a more surgical approach, aiming to cripple the ship's ability to fight back and maintain the jamming field. Back on Earth, the Russian president's efforts to establish contact were met with static. The battle in the heavens seemed beyond the reach of earthly communications, a fight being waged by beings and technology that defied understanding. In orbit, the shift in Rook's tactics began to show results. The command ship's defensive capabilities started to falter, its return fire becoming less coordinated and effective. While continuing their relentless assault on the Turd-Ysseys command ship, a critical warning came from the Mortifera's weapons officer, Lieutenant Varric. "Commander Rook, our weapon systems are nearing critical heat levels. Continued fire at this rate risks a complete system shutdown." Rook, absorbing the gravity of Varric's warning, quickly assessed the situation. Despite their sustained attack, the command ship's defenses remained largely intact. The realization dawned on him that their current strategy might be futile. He thought to himself, if only we could use the portals to board the ship directly. But then, an alternative idea sparked in his mind. A bold, direct approach that didn't rely on the portals. "We don't need portals," Rook muttered under his breath, his strategic mind working at lightning speed. He immediately relayed new orders to the fleet. "Weapons officers, focus your fire on the weakest point we've identified on the command ship. Concentrate all firepower there. It's our best shot." The Space Lord's ships adjusted their positions, aligning for a coordinated strike. The pinpointed area on the command ship, a section of the hull that had shown the most wear under their continuous barrage, became the focal point of their attack. Lieutenant Varric relayed Rook's command across the Mortifera fleet. "All units, prepare for concentrated fire on the commander's mark." The tension aboard each ship in the fleet was electric as they prepared for the decisive strike. This was a high-stakes gamble, but one that offered a glimmer of hope, the possibility of breaking through the command ship's defenses as Rook counted down, 3, 2, 1, fire. A torrent of energy and projectiles converged on the designated point of the Turd-Ysseys command ship. The combined power of the Space Lord's fleet unleashed in a singular, focused assault. For a moment, the space around the command ship was illuminated with a blinding light as the barrage hit its mark. The Turd-Ysseys ship shuddered under the impact, its defenses strained to their limits. The crew of the Mortifera and the rest of the fleet watched with bated breath, waiting to see if their desperate plan had succeeded. With light from the explosion subsiding, the damage to the command ship became apparent. The focused assault had breached the hull, causing significant structural damage. This was far from a victory, but it was a critical step leading to Rook's next stage. In the aftermath of the focused assault, Lieutenant Varric delivered a critical update to Commander Rook. "The majority of our fleet's weapon systems are offline following that blast. It was too much for them." Rook, understanding the severity of the situation, nodded gravely. "It served its purpose, Varric. We've created an opening in their defenses. That's all I needed." Without hesitation, Rook issued a bold command. "Gather 200 Space Lords in the departure bay. We're going to board the Turd-Ysseys command ship." In the departure bay, Rook faced the assembled Space Lords, an unwavering look in his eyes. He addressed the bridge. "Orient the ship towards the command ship in low orbit, then open the compartment to space." Cora, upon hearing Rook's plan, immediately reached out to him. "Rook, what you're proposing is reckless. You're not just risking your own life. You're endangering all those with you. This is a death wish." Rook, however, was steadfast. "We have one chance to turn this battle around, Cora. I have to take it. For the fallen, we strike." His tone left no room for argument. With a final nod to his crew, Rook gave the order to open the compartment. The wall of the departure bay vanished, exposing the Space Lords to the vacuum of space. In an instant, they were propelled towards the Turd-Ysseys command ship, their suits protecting them from the harsh environment. As they hurtled through space, Rook led the charge, his figure a beacon for the Space Lords following him. "For the fallen we strike!" he bellowed, his voice carrying through their internal comm systems. The Space Lords, a formidable force in their own right, embraced the audacity of Rook's plan. They were no strangers to risk, and this maneuver, though extreme, was a testament to their commitment and bravery. In a breathtaking display of precision and courage, the Space Lords navigated through the debris and chaos of the battlefield, drawing ever closer to the breach in the command ship's hull. Their approach was a daring gambit, a direct assault on the heart of the enemy. Cora, watching the scene unfold, filled with admiration and pride for what they had become. Rook's tactics were unconventional and perilous, but they embodied the spirit of the Space Lords, fearless, innovative, and unyielding. Rook and his team of 200 Space Lords were thrust into the void, plummeting towards the Drixarian command ship with nothing but the cold vacuum of space around them. As they fell, the physics of their daring maneuver became brutally apparent. The friction of re-entry began to build up heat around them, the glowing aura encapsulating their figures in a fiery sheen. Doubts crept in as they all wondered whether their advanced suits, despite their recent upgrades, could withstand the heat and the impact at terminal velocity. The descent was a harrowing experience, a true test of their armor's capabilities and their own resolve. Rook, leading the charge, kept his focus on the breach in the command ship's hull, but part of his mind wrestled with the uncertainty of their survival, while in the intense fall, a transmission pierced through, clear and urgent. It was the Russian president, broadcasting a plea for assistance. "To whoever is attacking the Drexarian command ship," he said, "our military is nearly depleted of the KH-47M2 Kinshall missiles, the only effective weapon we have against the alien landing crafts." Rook, seizing the opportunity, responded swiftly. "Keep up the fight. We are on our way. Pass this information to other world leaders if possible. Help is coming." But as quickly as the connection had been established, it was lost, leaving Rook and his team in silence once more. As the command ship's surface loomed closer, Rook and the Space Lords braced for impact, each warrior mentally prepared for the worst, the possibility of their suits failing, resulting in a catastrophic end to their mission. The final moments before impact were tense, each Space Lord instinctively rotating to land feet first, a maneuver that offered the best chance of survival. Doubts and fears swirled in their minds. Would they survive the impact, or would they meet their end as mere specks against the vastness of the command ship? With a thunderous bang that resonated through their suits, the Space Lords made contact with the hull of the Drixarian ship. To their relief and surprise, the advanced technology of their suits absorbed the impact. The inertia dampeners activated at the critical moment, reducing the force of the landing to a mere jolt, akin to stepping off a high ledge rather than crashing at terminal velocity. Rook was the first to regain his bearings. He quickly surveyed his surroundings and the condition of his team. Miraculously, the Space Lords had survived the descent, their suits living up to the challenge. They had landed on the enemy's doorstep, ready to take the fight to the Drixarians in a way they never expected. The Space Lords quickly regrouped, their training kicking in as they prepared to breach the command ship. Rook, now on the offensive, rallied his team. "For the fallen we strike," he declared, leading them into the heart of the enemy vessel.